you'd say, okay, I've seen that Jojo guy. He's a bit questionable. I think Spirit can get all over him, and Spirit will be our source of victory. And I think, yeah, that sounds like a very solid theory. Honestly, though, OMG probably feel the same about the mid lane. When Cool gets going, he's shown a level of performance that Jia hasn't been able to get to. So I feel like whichever of these real star players for their team, whether it's Cool or Spirit, get on top of that matchup, they should be the keys to victory. And I'm really going to be watching both those matchups to see whether it's Cool or Spirit that can really take this game by the scruff of its neck.
Well, bans are almost complete now, so Azir's going to get banned away from Cool. Kalista once again taken away from Uzi, and of course the Silence ban there for Aluka, joining with a LeBlanc ban actually on the red side for OMG, so don't want to give it over to World Elite despite Cool's prominence on the champion. Maokai is actually the last ban, so kind of taking it away from Xiang. We're going to deny the standard tank from Aluka as well, who's honestly has not looked that good so far.
No, it definitely didn't look like something that could answer a Hecarim, and that's the big situation, is you kind of need a bit of carry flavor to answer a Hecarim. You need the frozen melt, you need the real damage items coming out from the Gnar, and if you're just not that kind of Gnar, just don't pick yourself into the matchup. Cassiopeia is the notable champion that's made it through picks and bans. Is Jia feeling confident to play it? Because if not, we've already mentioned 13-1-7, 1150 AP. It was a real hard carry performance from Cool to get them over the line in Game 1 yesterday.
And they are going to take it. It looks like Aluka selects his Atlas, rushes over and says, it's okay, you picked the right champion. First pick Cassiopeia for World Elite.
What will the answer be is the question. They're not going to rush to pick a mid lane. There's no rush to do so. Hecarim's available. We've just mentioned that Aluka's not really good at keeping Hecarims in check. He did win one of those 2 games yesterday, but there was some real poor plays coming through from Let Me, turret diving, and what was definitely the facepalm moment of the evening. Hecarim is going to be the pick from Xiang. There's something different. He showed shades of carry potential on the Gnar. Now he needs to go real big on the Hecarim to justify the pick.
I like the Hecarim a lot against Cassio, but Nautilus is going to come in as well. So amazing 2 supports that we've seen so far, I believe, in this particular split. He's going to get the other one here. Alistar's banned away, so he picks up Nautilus.
A lot of junglers available. No junglers banned means that it's a risk to pick the Nidalee. You can go for champions like the Nunu, which of course wouldn't be a bad matchup for Nidalee. Nidalee can open up kill pressure, but you can just go for the classic meta junglers, like for example the Rek'Sai who's available. All those picks like Rek'Sai and Gragas available. I'd like to see the Nidalee, but this early in the rotation, I don't think it's a viable choice for Spirit.
I agree. I think it's a bit too dangerous. So just take your top laner here. You've already seen OMG, so you want to, I guess, hide your bottom lane's not the worst strategy. It will be Rek'Sai now the picks for World Elite, and Aluka, once again, he's been in this matchup a couple of times. Has not impressed us just yet, but has opportunities to do so now.
And look, if you just look on the pure results, he was up 40 CS in Game 1. He won the lane. I think it was more from Lupa's misplays, but maybe he can show that I was wrong. Maybe he can really make me a believer here, Aluka. It took me a long time to warm up to the Scion, and then by the time IM came around, it was world-renowned. So if he can make Gnar his own, at least that's another string for Aluka, who's maybe unfairly pigeonholed as just a tank role player.
Yeah, Aluka certainly seems like a slow burner as far as champion mastery goes, but again, as you said with the Scion, when he does get going, he looks great. But OMG have made their next few picks. Uzi is back on Sivir duty once again. Surprise everyone. He's going to play Sivir again. And Shui Shui is going to take the Gragas for the jungle.
After we saw a brilliant showing of Sivir Hecarim, we get to see it again. Doesn't have the Sejuani for the guaranteed backline dive. Gragas a little bit more situation depending on how the explosive cast comes out. But definitely the plan is clear. Get on top of that Cassiopeia and delete her. Maybe even just stack armor and try and DPS down the Cassio instantly.
Oh, I actually saw the Morgana for a second, but Conan switches it up to Thresh. Mystic's going to take Lucian, so an aggressive bottom lane, and I think our standard response now to Sivir has been Lucian, but I like the Morgana there. I think you already see what OMG are trying to do is amazing flashes of fizz. This is a very classic cool champion.
Korn played this yesterday against Yu's Cassiopeia and completely smashed the Cassio. Any of the assassins is fine. Rookie's already played a huge performance on the Ahri. Cool is the queen of Ahri. He's a wonderful Ahri player. It'd be great to see it back, but Cool on either the Ahri or the Fizz would have been fine, and it's going to be the Ahri.
It's back. The fans probably celebrating right now in the stands because Cool's Ahri, it's been a while since we've seen it, but in spring he was drawing constant bans for this champion. You have to think that even if he's a little bit rusty, it will not take him very long to warm back up to one of his favorite champions.
And in the Cinderhulk meta, it hasn't proved to be an auto pick or an ideal pick for the Ahri, but it's against only one Cinderhulk here, a little bit less health stacking, especially if this Gnar wants to pressure the Hecarim. theoretically you have to go a bit more the damage route, maybe a little bit less resist, maybe a little bit more squishy. The more viable targets there is to 100 to 0 for the Ahri, the better.
Yeah, we'll go through our matchups now. So Aluka back into the Na Hecarim matchup up against Xiang. Be curious to see how Xiang can get going on the Hecarim, if at all. Spirit on the Rek'Sai versus Shui Shui's Gragas. Very standard jungle matchup there as well. But the exciting one has to be in the mid. She has Cassio versus Coolzari.
High pressure ganking junglers to a pick mid laner and a very high DPS mid laner. Should be a lot of fireworks around mid, and both those featured matchups, whether Cool or whether Spirit can get going, featured there.
Yeah, and Conan amazing and round things out with some hook champions there as Thresh versus Nautilus. Bottom lane could be explosive as well. There are a lot of things that could happen here in this particular game, and very excited to get into our first one.
I mean, WE versus OMG is the two most popular teams in China. It's a really big rivalry. World Elite, slow burners, but at least getting a win on the board. Can this finally be their big gambit? Can they finally show that they are a top team in waiting?
Well, I guess we're going to find out relatively soon here between these two teams. And you know what? Let's find out right now. We're about to get straight onto the Rift. And we're back here for our first game of our last match of the evening as OMG take on World Elite and Cool. He's been our big player this weekend. He really stepped up in OMG's recent 2-0. Can he do it again on a trademark champion?
Exactly, on an old favorite is Cool, but outside of Cool, there's still questions to be asked. What does Xiang's Hecarim look like? Because we've transitioned from pure tank in Maokai to some pseudo carry potential in the Na, which he performed very well. Surprised me, in fact, how great his Na mechanics were, to the Hecarim that really errs towards early game struggling. Is he going to understand how to be denied, going from a support player to picking himself into a losing carry matchup on the Hecarim? We don't know the answer to that question. Will Aluka be able to come out of the shell and actually take advantage of the fact that this is probably a bit of unfamiliar territory for Xiang and really boss him around the Na? And then in the jungle, high pressure from both, but junglers have been really having a field day against Shuezhua. Can they actually either engineer a 2v1 that hides Shuezhua, a bit like LGD was doing back around playoff times, 2v1ing consistently to hide TBQ? Or will Spirit and Shuezhua just go at it, and will that be an even matchup? Or can Spirit show us why he's respected as one of the best junglers in the world and really blow Shuezhua out?
He's one of the best counter junglers in the world as well, so I agree. I'd love to see Spirit kind of go back to his roots and be a bit more aggressive, but even at a basic level, it seems like we're going to break out into standard lanes here. I actually like that a lot of teams seem to be picking Hecarim, who's fairly late game oriented as far as champions and sort of farm priority goes, and just picking an assassin is amazing. Gets the first hook down, and Uzi's already in it, but the Flay goes back in, and that trade was won by World Elite.
That was definitely one by World Elite. Another small mistake from Amazing. If that was a Blitzcrank, it would have been a wonderful hook because it would have brought everyone towards OMG, but Amazing ended up going so deep. He took minion aggro, he took a trade, and lost it convincingly.
I've seen a lot of level 1 all-ins, especially Def seems to be responsible for a lot of them in the LPL, but not working out quite there for, again, Amazing finding his space with his new 80 carry Uzi.
Shuezhua is going to pick up the Scuttle Crab. Doesn't look like there's going to be a 3-buff situation this time. And that's just been all too common when Shuezhua has been playing.
It has. I mean, I think it was 2 out of 2 games, despite the victories for OMG when they played up against RNG that it happened. But level 2 is dinged pretty early for both of the bottom laners here. And Shuezhua's actually going to invade Spirit here. That is very, very manly. But Spirit not going to get his Raptor denied, just pulls it away and going to wait for his smite. In fact, it's going to be a smite off here. Good vision there going down. Who's going to get the Raptor? It's fairly important. First smite goes in. Spirit's going to take it away. There's level 3 to level 2. Cassiopeia is that time for him, and Shui far too much. Cool. Oh. Massive flash by Shea of the Charm, and he very well-deservedly collects first blood.
And it feels like Shuezhua overcorrected. He was too passive yesterday, went to invade in what is a very even matchup, didn't even call in Cool to react first, and he was punished.
Yeah, Spirit's in the bottom side as well. Uzi, I think, might have fancied a 1v2 there, but Amazing spots the jungler coming down and prevents the gank from coming in, but Shea loses his flash but gains the kill. He'll take the trade, and he's already ahead of Cool in this matchup.
Now we're trying to see if there's going to be a hook. Hook lands.
Lands onto Amazing. Heal used by Uzi. Mystic going to be the target. Gets ignited down, but Uzi doesn't have enough damage. Conan going to try and line something else up. Uzi turns around for a few more autos. Hook lands onto Conan. Good boomerang blade. That's going to force a heal. Mystic flashing down, but Amazing just manages to live. Uzi's going to hold on to that flash, but Amazing just barely gets away.
He lived on 7 HP, Pastry Time. That is by the skin of your teeth and then some. Again, the new members of this team, the communication's not there around the mid lane when we saw the first blood came through. If Cool was calling him to do that and was going to come in first, remember it's on World Elite side of the jungle, so Xia has a much more direct path. Absolutely go for it, but in this lane matchup, it's not like Cassiopeia is at the whim of Ahri. Where the lane was as well, it wasn't pushing into the turret. Xia didn't lose anything rotating and just got donated, basically a free kill.
And the free blue buff as well, which is actually something I only just noticed when we panned back to the lane. But that's bad news here for Cool, who's starting to lose the lane matchup, mainly because of what just happened as Cassio goes back for a nice early tier and some boots.
And it's worth knowing that uniquely in the LPL, remember, this is an all-Chinese lineup coming through from OMG. There shouldn't be communication issues from a language perspective. So this is just new players coming to the lineup, and this is an OMG lineup that's been basically the same, save Pomelo and Loveling swapping roles for a couple of years. They've been basically the same 5-man unit, just looking wonky now that they have the new members.
Yeah, adjusting to their new players is certainly something that's going to be, I think, a fairly consistent trend of this OMG lineup all summer long. But Xiang could be in trouble in the top side as Rek'Sai has spotted him off, maybe thinking about a dive. Luca in Mega Gnar form, it's going to wear off fairly shortly, and that'll probably end all possibilities of a gank.
Xiang, I think he's going to be just fine in this particular situation. It's going to take a while to push in the minions. He's already spotted out the Rek'Sai, so even though the gank is very, very strong, there's no Gnar ultimate available either. If the Gnar is available, if Aluka pings 6, maybe there's kill potential, but Spirit's really camping this hard.
Yeah, he's almost level 5, his Spirit, but he's waited quite a while to try and get it down there. Wave eventually pushes back to Xiang, and he's going to collect more CS, and he's keeping it nice and even. I think any difference of about 10 or less is good news for Hecarim in this lane.
I think that's a fair number.
Oh, Spirit charging in there. Gets the knock-up, forcing the flash, actually. But a very nice charm from Cool, and the flash prevents him from going down.
It was still poor from Cool. He actually had vision of Rek'Sai coming down the jungle, so should have known that he was under significant risk of a gank. Now has flash down when that was really unnecessary.
Did he have vision? I can't quite see the ward that he might have had
there was vision up top side
okay.
as Rek'Sai was camping in the top and then moved towards the enemy jungle. So at best, Rek'Sai was taking one of the camps. At worst, ganking his lane.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So Cool does lose his flash as a result, but now level 6 will feel relatively safe in the lane, you have to think. Actually went back as a blasting one now, so going to get some early pushing power and AP. We see this a lot when Pawn plays Cassidy, and it's kind of the same story here for Ahri.
I mean, Ahri not having flash actually removes kill pressure in these duels. When you have the flash, you can make those cute plays around the Petrifying Gaze, either flashing to the side of it or flashing away from the stun duration. When you only have the Spirit Rush, suddenly you only have defensive Spirit Rush options. You don't really have kill pressure without both those outplay mechanics.
I mean, you can do it with just your ulti, but you need to pretty much hard read your opponent to force that to happen.
And look, he's a wonderful Ahri player, but that's, I think, too optimistic.
It might be here. As Spirit's coming back down again for a gank in the bottom side. Uzi spell shields, but flashes the hook nicely. Xie down here as well. The teleport cancelled by Xiang, and smartly as well. And Cool beaten to the punch on that rotation. And Spirit, he is brutal today on the ganks.
Absolutely, but he's really good at playing champs like Rek'Sai. Both Kakao and Spirit, those Korean junglers, excellent with their pathing. Very smart, those reads, going for those behind-the-turret ganks that used to be uniquely Shaco-only style. Now looking excellent on the Rek'Sai.
And blue buff here, not going to be contested, so Cool will pick that up for himself. I imagine Xia will do the same. Shui got blue.
Not covering himself in glory this game.
No, unfortunately, Shui not up to a good start here this weekend, so we'll see how it lifts out as Cool. Gonna actually have problems now. We saw what happened when Cassio had blue buff in the matchup. It's fairly important for both mid laners.
I'm gonna hope for Zhuezhue's case that it was Gromp that stole it, because of course Cinderhulk not completed and can't steal it anyway, but just awkward interaction regardless. And now Xia with blue, after already being donated the first blue from Zhuezhue, has the blue buff advantage in lane as well.
Not a lot of blues going on there, unfortunately for Cool, as Mystic just going to miss the hook there as he takes the Lantern away. Nice pressure from Amazing, but OMG's bottom lane struggling a little, I guess, mainly from all the pressure that Spirit's applying. And I agree with you on players like Kakao and Spirit on the Rek'Sai. We saw this yesterday. Spirit was so aggressive trying to gank lanes, but he never overdid it. He just came down, burned some summoners, apply some pressure, and then go straight back to farming his jungle. He's still ahead of Shui as far as farm goes.
We see a lot of Rek'Sai, and not every Rek'Sai plays like this. Burst trade coming onto Conan.
Yeah, they're actually going in pretty all in here. Uzi pops his ulti. They want Conan. They are going to get it. There's no teleports for the top lane. Is Mystic going to go in onto Amazing, who pulls out just at the end. Now Mystic could be in trouble. Boomerang blade lands, and Uzi gets the double.
Mystic should have used Flash, tried to be greedy with the summoner and pays for it. And OMG, despite the fact they looked like they were struggling bottom, 15 CS advantage and now 2 kills. Amazing's dead.
Yeah, he is going to die, but he might just make sure Uzi stays safe. Spirit, very nice rotation. It's Xiang, takes out a Luca. Shui finally comes up big. It's amazing. He's trying to dodge Prey Seekers, but yep, just going to play a merry old tune in Spirit, and he'll get it eventually.
Yep, finally the kill comes through. It's worth knowing that Jie left lane and actually lost a wave of minions to the turret, trying to help with the gank when it fast became clear that only Amazing was going to fall. So multiple things coming through and things coming up, OMG.
Well, Cool has to dodge the miasma. Just gets around, actually misses the charm, but that is going to give Scuttlecrab over to World Elite by the looks of things. And Dragon with Xiang on the top side and Shui last seen there as well. Aluka did die from the dive. That does give Hecarim a nice little lead, but World Elite might look to continue pressure on the bottom side of the map.
A 16 CS advantage and now Turret in a lane that he's always going to outscale the Nut unless some big damage purchases come up. And spoilers, Barmy Cinders mean probably not going to be those big damage purchases. Probably going to be a lot the same. We saw the replay. Just a very prototypical Turret dive. Things are going to get better and better for Xiang in that top lane.
They are, and that was our question. How well can he do on the Hecarim? Seemed to hold his own fine in the lane. Shui actually a nice gank there. Keeps him safe as Spirit dives in. Lantern over the top, though. And just, again, a bit of pressure from Spirit, not overdoing it.
The Death Sentence going wide stopped any kill pressure. That's why the defensive Lantern came through. They just lost the kill pressure without Thresh also joining him over the wall.
And Dragon actually attempted now by Spirit, I believe. He's sitting on top of the buff, trying to solo it out. Level 7 means that he can kind of do whatever he wants on the Rex. So he's actually completed his Cinderhawk as well and joined in that Stalker's Blade to get access to the Chilling Smite. So everything is just fine for now. Amazing again wants to 2v2 with Uzi, and they're getting good damage down, but Spirit eventually is going to wear down the Dragon.
Jojo's making another little mistake. They knew Rek'Sai was in the area. He pathed everywhere but checking the Dragon and ends up being a free Dragon when if contested would have been able to do something. Aluka doesn't have a turret to run to, but with the bounce, he finds his inner turret.
Minion Wave actually very nicely positioned as it comes back up the lane to make sure Aluka gets a safety. Xiang, though, with the turret gone, pressuring this Gnar and already starting to really stick it to him in the lane. If he'd had ultimate, that was probably a kill for Hecarim.
It probably would have. This time, it looks like OMG going to be the first to react bottom. There is a defensive ward, but they do have explosive cast.
Ultimate is popped, though. Mystic gets depth charge and hit into the wall by the Gragas explosive cast. Going to get chased down and take a ton of damage from the red buff Gragas. They continue to the dive as Aluka's dive down as well, but Spirit now is the next one to come through. And Xiang, he's got his ulti. They're going to keep diving in. Gragas gets a double, goes in. Massive ulti on the Spirit means Siv's going to get the next kill. Cool's diving in under the turret. Thresh is dead to Uzi, gets the double. And Xie finds the ulti only onto Shui. Going to dive again as OMG get an ace under a turret.
A perfect ace under turret. It's old OMG reincarnated with a new lineup. Lovely play to pick up an ace. So hard to execute. No one dies. The kill scores, especially Uzi. Something about this Sivir really lines up. 5-0 and 2.
I mean, you can sort of see there, just popping the ulti and having everybody charge through. It's, you know, Sivir Hecarim we've highlighted as being a great combo. It's not quite Sejuani as well, but Nautilus Gragas are not bad.
So this is, again, one of the cleanest turret dives you'll ever see. Firstly, Amazing almost dies to the turret, then Spider knots away. This is one of the reasons we say Gragas does a lot of base damage, able to just duel out the Lucian. They could have just backed away with the kill they got, but that's not OMG. That's not the OMG we know and remember. And Xiang is so strong at level 9 already. And now Cool takes the last tower hit, doesn't die crucially to the turret. They continue the shenanigans, but it's 5v1. And a big team fight win for OMG.
And it seems like we discover what OMG have been training with this new lineup the whole time. We might have had some missteps here and there from players, as Cool will also get the blue buff. As Amazing even might look for Spirit. Spirit knows he's there. Cool pops down a ward, but hasn't quite seen the Rek'Sai yet. And Amazing face checks a brush, but with his jungler there, his double wards come down as well. They'll collapse the tunnel and keep Spirit away from the mid lane.
There's a reason why there was a famous meme around Season 3 World Championships involving Chinese client not having any turrets on it. They were always the masters of the turret dive, and even though a lot of the members change, with just a couple left, or just a one actually in Cool, they still pull off some very nice turret dives.
And to clarify, you know, that's now a product of Chinese League of Legends in general. Clearlev especially has impressed me all year long with his turret dives. But OMG, they were the trendsetters as far as that metagame went. And looking to be back to old form here with, again, some new players. Is Blue Buff even going to get stolen there? Shui picks it up.
Look, I agree with you. There's a lot of turret dives in the Chinese LPL and across competitive scenes now. A lot of teams have picked up that play. But there's the difference between 3 people diving 1 or 3 people diving 2 and literally acing a team under turret at 12 minutes.
The freight train might be back, Boba Smith. They even have the Hecarim ult just to make it happen. And who better to conduct the freight train than Sivir herself?
That's just rude to conduct a freight train against Aluka. Why does that man never get on the train?
Look, if they pick Sivir, maybe he would be able to at least relive some of the happy experiences with Sion. But we've talked about the Sivir win rate. Uzi, no slouch on the champion. It's not quite a hyper carry, but the way Uzi plays it, still the same old aggressive AD carry player.
And you're right about the movement speed. Just the thing about the movement speed in the early game, it's 1 less turret shot because you're able to open up that much more distance. Xiang is being found out, but look at the level.
He's 1v2 with level 11, ults away to safety. Pretty low cooldown with rank 2 ulti as well. And Spirit, who was applying good pressure early but couldn't convert, struggling to keep these teams ahead as Uzi's just going to take his red buff.
Exactly, just walks into red buff and just takes it. He's got 3 members there. Easy steal. He's equal in levels. It feels like he's under level because of level 11.
That ulti was sick. Spirit goes down. The Xie's going to be the next one. Petrifying Gaze is cool. Waits for his cooldowns and another turret dive. Gives OMG 2 kills. Amazing. Is going to go down to Mystic as a nice hook from Conan secures it. But 2 for 1 and a tower. OMG still diving.
Finally, someone's punished for turret diving on OMG, but unfortunately for World Elite, 7 kills were already the product of turret dives. Excellent play coming through. As you mentioned, the explosive cask, mini stunning against the wall was beautiful mechanics. And Aluka, this is the reason why I say I don't like him playing the Gnar. He just sort of sits in lane. He's building very, very tanky for team fights. But when you're 7,000 gold behind at 15 minutes, the team fights aren't going to be the same whatever items you build.
Let's just take a moment to ingest that gold lead for a second. That's ridiculous.
It's a lot.
That is a lot. I mean, just look down at the rolls right now. Uzi is, what, 2,500, 3,000 gold ahead of his lane opponent.
He's a static shiv ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, Xiang is about 1,500 gold ahead. Spirit's 1,000 gold behind. Actually, the mid lane is fairly close. It's amazing it has quite a lot of the gold as a result, but a gold lead is a gold lead here, and OMG have a massive one looking for the next Dragon Match. We'll be back in 50 seconds, and a death cap now completed for Cool, skipping his Athene's Morello Nomicon because he just had that much money. She has got a Rylai's in a tier, but he's not going to stand up to this, Ari.
With that snowball death cap, maybe actually just looking over at the fact that it's a very safe build from Jie, picking up the Giant's Belt first into the Rylai's. Death Cap Ari is a blast from the past. It's instant kill potential. It's probably not as much of a 1-item power spike on Ari as Luden's is, at least on patch 5.8. Might be changing when 5.11 hits the Rift, but still, a lot of damage coming through, and it will just mean that when he actually builds the CDR, each of those spell rotations is going to be doing massive damage.
Yeah, I like the build a lot, actually, from both of the mid laners. Death Cap is, I guess, fairly stock standard at this stage, but we saw Dade do this Cassiopeia build and have some success with it, and it might not be right now the best thing for Shea, but Cassiopeia takes a bit of time to get going anyway, and for right now, OMG still traveling with all that momentum, going to get themselves their first dragon.
It's a good, smart build against any burst mage. Cassiopeia, not necessarily a burst mage, but you have to live through that initial 3 or 4 Twin Fangs that are definitely going to ride on. The dragon is confirmed. It's only an answering dragon, as World Leader picked up the first. Zhang's already got a couple of kills on Aluka, and certainly at minimum going to chase him out of lane.
He smites him. He just wants to keep going here and try and pressure. The Phage going to keep him fairly good in this chase. Though Aluka does turn it around. The Spirit is rejoining once again. A hook lands for Conan, but Shui just ults him and gets a kill. Shades of AP Gragas there and cools back to the bottom side. Uzi's actually taking away some jungle, and OMG going to try and push an inner turret now.
It's no coincidence that the big carry members here are their mid lane and their jungler. The old members are shining through their smartness and the calls of the turret. I can't profess to know who's making the shot calling. I've heard that Xiang is actually being heavily involved in it. They've definitely been very on top of things, and Xiang himself, the question was, can he play the carry champions? Resounding yes so far.
And he's in the best spot as a Hecarim at this stage of the game. Cinderhawk's done with the skirmish, to say, but he's got his boots too. Doesn't have Home Guard, I guess, is the other big thing, but does have his Phage. So if he wants to get Trinity Force and get some money for it, he can. If he wants to go tanky, he can now as well. And that Home Guard enchant's not far away. This is, for me, the big jumping off point for Hecarim.
He's just dictating his lane as well. That's the thing that's usually missing, is that you might have the items, but still, Gnar or whoever you're laning against is bossing you around. He's bossing around the enemy champion, and there's the outscale potential. So, yeah. Everything's coming up, Hecarim.
It is indeed here, and Xiang looking good here in his first game on a fairly new champion for, again, a top laner that has not played very many top lane games in the LPL. Mystic does have his Infinity Edge, but he's behind, like you mentioned earlier, a static shiv to a 6-0 and 3 Uzi and Cool. Silkshoe's done as well. not quite looking again to turn that Fetish Contest into anything yet, although Morellonomicon is on the way with a Forbidden Idol there in the inventory. And OMG, a bit of a lull in the action with maybe less turrets for them to dive now that they have 3, but they're going to keep moving and try and take down some inner turrets.
Let's have so much pick potential with Ari picking up the early death cap. Now has the Sorcerer's Shoes to go along with the Fiendish Codex and soon to be a Morellonomicon. Actually just rotating into a split push. It's not quite Lichbane Fizz, but there's no one that can duel against her. And if OMG can keep pushing up vision, and honestly, the defensive vision for World Elite's very good. You can see multiple pink wards across the map. But as they start to clear out that vision, and you have to respect both the pick power and just the Sivir ultimate making any tank with CC a pick champion, it will just be harder and harder for World Elite to pick up CS. And that's why you see Mystic freezing down bottom, is that he doesn't know when the next minion wave he can actually get will be once that minion wave pushes out.
Yeah, just has to collect as much as he can. Shie going to eat a Boomerang Blade, but actually fairly tanky with the Rylai's there, so going to shrug off some of that spell damage there from Uzi, who's just going to take the Wolves away and say, cool, Olsen, Shie, ulti hits him, but he flashes out. Box now down. Amazing's going to die there to Mystic, and OMG going to charge back in. Aluka takes an absurd amount of damage there from Cool and Xiang. He's not even here yet.
That was still very well baited. Conan was standing over the ridge, ready for any semblance of a turret dive. Nowhere for Xiang to react because there wasn't a ward, a OMG ward in the area to look for any sort of flank. But the result is a kill, and still they're going to lose turret damage.
Yeah, they open up enough space, and this turret's dead now as OMG will take their first Tier 2 turret of this game. And well played by both supports, honestly. A nice setup there from Amazing. They almost had Shie cool charged in there with a Spirit Rush and tried to get a charm down, but he flashed and barriered out in time. Well played by Conan to keep it just to the minimum here, but World Elite still losing territory in this game.
And that's the thing. The operative word is almost, because if you get a pick and lose an objective, you're a long way behind. The Gold League will confirm that to any of the viewers, but yeah, they can't even stop the bleeding with a kill, and that's why, unfortunately, World Elite, unless they get a miracle, are very, very far behind in this game.
They're so far behind. They're almost 10,000 gold behind in this game already. And it's 21.5 minutes, Papa Smithy. Cool just went back and finished his Morellonomicon. Xiang's going for the Trinity Force, and I don't blame him at this stage. Got his Sheen in his pocket now as well. Gragas is getting tanky. Even the support's building in towards the Mikhails. Everything's going right, and World Elite is struggling, and Xie gets caught out. Xiang just ultis. The freight train is back. Ultis used everywhere, 1 kill, that's the OMG we know and love.
And they didn't even need to use those ultis. Cole's just like, I need to again pump up my KDA. It was a 13.5 KDA yesterday between the 13-1-7 and 8-1-9 Orianna games. 2-0-6, probably too many assists there for Cole's liking. But that pick, especially onto the only member doing respectively on the side of Xie. Okay, apologies to Mystic doing fine himself, but with so much of the damage gone, should be an unanswered Baron.
And Baron does go down. Uzi pops the ulti. OMG gonna pile up the freight train once again. No picks, just a ward actually there instead. But Uzi will aggressively take it away. And you know what, Papa Smithy? In 2013, when OMG actually coined the phrase freight train, it wasn't always about getting the kills or getting big team fights. It was just about using the ultis, getting a pick, and sending a message.
So back in those days, it was Thresh, Graves, and Hecarim. You can sub out Graves for Sivir. I don't think that's fine on this particular patch. When you've got those 3 items, you're basically hitting people with buckshots with your Boomerang Blade. The Hecarim's still there. In the top lane now, it's not anymore the Loveland jungle Hecarim, but the metas shift like that. And Nautilus is a very apt replacement for Thresh, because again, we're just talking about pick CC, and you're correct. Throw out the ultimate, someone's going to die. In this case, it's Xie, and that's a bonus, because then you basically get free Baron, because there's no downside opting into a Baron with only 1 damage source left on World Elite.
And it's just Mystic here who has to dodge so many skill shots. Forget about ultimates. They're not going to be up after the pick onto Xie. OMG, complete control of the game. Now officially 10,000 gold ahead at 23 minutes. Dragons back up in 10 seconds, and World Elite, they're going to have to buckle up and prepare for a storm. They have a long hill to climb if they're going to get themselves back into this game.
And honestly, I mean, a surrender is something they could consider in this case. It's not like you look at your comp and think, all right, we got the outscale, boys. They don't really even have that. Cassiopeia, I guess, theoretically could hit 6 items, 1150 AP, but there's just so many different types of pick threat onto her that I think you're going to have to go so defensive in the build that those sort of numbers aren't realistic. Remember, we did see Dade play a similar build, but he wasn't pushing 1000 AP whereas Cool was, because he gave up on items like Giant Spell and went full aggression in the build. The split push is coming through from Aluka, but when you're split pushing an outer turret for your inhibitor turret...
Shui ulti's in there as well. They want GA once again. Spirit's going to take a lot of collateral and almost go down. Xiang's just charging on top of people. Uzi tanking turret hits with his ulti ticking away. Cool gets the first pick on Rek'Sai. Cassio goes down to Gragas. The turret's fallen, so do World Elite's hope.
And OMG are playing Chinese League of Legends pastry time. We've watched M3. We've watched them spend 25 minutes work out what to do with their third Baron buff. OMG don't need any Baron buffs to dive turrets. Smart dive. They knew how far ahead they were. Maybe they're just able to judge their power better than most teams based on both their items, levels, and champions. But they're so assertive when ahead, and that's why you watch Master 3, you watch other teams that play around with big leads. And teams like OMG, they don't get them as often as some of these other teams, especially in recent weeks. But when they do, they blow out games.
Yeah, and they're looking like, again, classic OMG with trying to fit these new members in. I don't blame them, honestly. It's a pretty good strat to be like, well, this is what we did when we started winning in China, so let's just go back to basics. And it's looked great here for OMG. They're going to get a second dragon here as well on World Elite. Just more problems, unfortunately, for them. There's not that much they can do here in this game than sort of stick by their turrets and hope OMG make multiple mistakes.
A lot of people have talked about OMG's roster swaps and been sad. And honestly, when an iconic team with a starting lineup like that changes lineup, there is reason to be sad. But honestly, I think the organization stepped back and realized we're not going to win Worlds with this lineup. Just with the state of League of Legends as it is, we all hoped that the flying V, Uzi at the back, Cool and going at the front, all on carries, smashing down enemies would happen. And it did for one game, and then just fizzled out during spring because it's just not a realistic allocation of gold based on the patches. They've gone for a big change. A previous support player, now playing in the top lane, is able to play pseudo carries like Hecarim, but is very happy to go into Maokai duty. Honestly, not that big a departure from going, but still very solidly understanding his role. They're changing also multiple other members, and they've got 2 clear carries now, which much more fits into the 2015 meta. And if they're just looking for a little bit of early game heartache, whether it's Zhuezhue getting 3 buff, whether it's Amazing just struggling a little bit in lane for an ultimate goal of just assaulting worlds, I can respect shooting higher than just top 4 in the LPL.
I can as well. This is a great, exciting game for this new OMG roster, but much like the LPL, Worlds is a long way away for all of the teams here. So OMG, this is a great game for them. They'll certainly use it as a model for their future games of, hey, we did this before, we can do it again. And we're pretty sure we can do it against arguably stronger opposition when they look to the top teams of this league. It's a great start for them. They're going to need a bit more, but this game has just been, in a weird way, a throwback to classic OMG, and it's just so much fun to watch.
But not a lot of teams, even like in top versus bottom matchups, can play like this so assertively, understand their risk, push their limits. It's not a flat track bully situation where it's the best team against the worst team. This World Elite lineup might be struggling this season, but certainly should be in playoff contention. It's just understanding how to win when you're ahead that teams like Master 3 are shouting out for. And here comes another
Amazing
dive.
goes in, the dive under the turret. That's a dead Lucian as Mystic's already dead. She is going to go down as well fairly soon as Xiang will actually pick up the kill. Great spell shield from Uzi, keeps Conan took away. Spirit is getting chased in, and OMG running into the fountain. Uzi, oh, he gets flayed back in and taken out by the laser. But he's an easy casualty here for OMG to give up because World Elite's base, it's dead.
Even Xiang is powering down these structures with the Trinity Force. Every POC bursting champions and structures alike. They're taking their time, hoping they get some more exit kills. Cool, really wishing he could flip his assists and kills. But a very comfortable win for OMG. Shades of 2014 and 2013, which given their stranglehold on the scene, especially 2013, that's good times for OMG.
It is indeed, and a great first game there is Cool. Cracks a smile. Spirit looking bemused, I have to say. He's certainly not happy, but I don't think he's quite sad either. It's been tough for Spirit. It's been a tough year, to be honest. He finally cracks a smile. He wants to pick his team back up, but I don't blame Spirit. He's tired of losing, and Uzi